Becky, oh my gosh. Literally, what is happening? Everybody, welcome. This is the women's game. We are live. It's just minutes after the final whistle of the first Euro semifinal between England and Italy. What another crazy game from England, who went down a goal, scrapped the entire game to somehow get themselves back in it with 2 last-second goals from substitutes. I am so happy to be joined by a voice of reason when I really, really need it. The best co-host that exists is my good friend Becky Sauerbrunn joining us today. Reebs, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, but like not happy in general.
Oh my God, wait, hang on. That surprises me. You're not happy. Were you rooting for Italy?
Yeah, I just love good defending and I want them to be rewarded. And they just didn't get rewarded. And it feels so cruel to me.
It was a cruel ending, I think, for a team who fought so hard to get to this point, who's had such an incredible tournament, who played really well today. And we're going to get to this, but we're like doing everything right as the game was winding down. I just don't even really know what happened. I was going to ask you a couple of other check-in questions, Becky, but I don't even feel like we need to. I feel like we are so deep in this game. We've got to just get into it. So, everybody, if you're new here, we're going to react to this England-Italy game. We're going to have Becky answer all of our questions. But first, let me just explain how this show works. This is a TWG Live, which means our listeners are all here with us. You're in the chat. You're going to call in later in the show. You can ask us questions about whatever you want, football, life. If you want to call in and ask a question, just scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. That will take you into a Zoom with our producer, Tony. Tony will get you all set up to ask your question. Don't worry, Tony's not going to put you on screen. It's just audio. We'll get to your questions a little bit later in the broadcast, but go ahead, scan the QR code, get in line now. Make sure you get your question in there. And if you don't want to ask a question, just give us a like on this page. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and join us on this channel. I see some of you in the chat already. Natalie says she's an Arsenal fan. I just lost it. Wants to see Michelle Agyemang play in the NWSL. I feel like her style would do so well here. Michelle Agyemang, shout out. We would love to see her in the NWSL someday. We've got a ton of great comments coming in. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, my gosh, if you're not in the chat over there, get over there. We'll definitely be reading some out as the show goes on. Becky, we've got to get into it. First and foremost, I already had the opportunity on Good Vibes with Lynn to address and condemn the racial abuse that England defender Jess Carter has been receiving. Becky, I'm sure you've seen that news as well. And so before we get into this game, I would love to give you a chance to address that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just disgusting and disappointing, and more needs to be done. And the English team decided not to kneel before the kick, which had been the usual form of protest against racism in the game. But they've made statements. They clearly feel it's not enough. And it isn't enough. And there needs to be harsher punishments for online abusers. There needs to be harsher punishments and consequences when racist and racially charged incidents like happen in these stadiums. And FIFA needs to take this more seriously. Each confederation, each federation needs to take it more seriously, because continuing with the status quo, it just isn't doing it.
Yeah, totally agree. If you haven't listened to our episode of Good Vibes that just came out earlier today, Lynn and I spoke about this in that episode as well. But thank you for also addressing it, Becky. I think it's really important that we are all speaking about it. Jess has had such an outpouring of support from teammates, media outlets, fans, which has been obviously a positive to see, but none of us want to see this as part of the game anymore. Coming into this game today, Agyemang Morgan did step into that kind of center back position in place of Jess Carter, with manager Serena Wiegman citing that she thought Agyemang could potentially help them address some tactical adjustments at the back. And Becky, this actually isn't the first time this tournament that England has changed around their back line. They actually switched Jess Carter with Alex Greenwood after their first game and lost to France, just positionally changing some players. And then today we saw Agyemang step in. I'm actually really curious for this England team who have been on a roller coaster of emotions and tactics and, wins and losses throughout this tournament. What's that like to make a defensive change mid-tournament? Like, I feel like going into a tournament, the backline is training together, getting so many reps in a certain formation with certain players in certain positions. What would that be like to have a young player like Agyemang Morgan, who only has 15 caps, to step into a Euros semifinal for her first major tournament start? What does that do to the back line?
I mean, the game is just so unpredictable, and it can be a coaching decision. It can be an injury, a red card. So I think you just have to rely on the veteran leadership that's already in that back line. And you've got amazing players. You've got Lucy Bronze, Alex Greenwood, Leah Williamson. So I feel like Agyemang Morgan is just in really good hands. And I feel like for Esme, like you're on the team for a reason. So I hope she's feeling confident and knows that she's got the team and the players behind her and like believing in her.
For sure. I know. I think obviously kind of a scary game for a young player to step into. Um, but my gosh, Esme played the whole game and she was involved in some good things, some bad things, but like how exciting to see her stepping in and getting that opportunity. England, I feel were coming off their last game was not just emotionally exhausting. They had to come back from being 2 goals down and then go all the way through the whole game, tie it up, go all the way through extra time, go all the way into penalty kicks. Each team had 7 penalty kick takers, which again, it's like every time there's a penalty kick, you guys, like your heart could stop. So to do it 14 times is torture and literally so awful. England is coming off of that mental, emotional roller coaster, but that game was also really physically exhausting. You think about all the extra runs you're doing and 30 extra minutes of playing. Plus, I feel like so many England players were like getting medical attention during that Sweden game. And so at this point in the tournament, this was England's 5th game in 18 days. Becky, I'm curious what you think is harder to overcome, the mental and emotional exhaustion or just like the pain that your body is in?
I think if you've picked up a knock or an injury, I think it's actually the pain that's harder to get over. Sometimes your body just can't mask the pain anymore, and it shouldn't. And it's just like, you're done. But at this level and at this stage of the tournament, I think your brain can do really miraculous things and can help you find reserves you need both mentally and physically. So you think you might be tired, but then that first whistle blows, and all of a sudden you're like, I have found a second wind, a different gear. And I think most of the players on the field have played professional seasons where they are playing a game every 3rd day or so. So I feel like their bodies are actually primed for this.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that makes sense. I think especially for England, who I think also have like the external pressure on them of like their team was in the headlines before the tournament even started. Their team has been in the headlines this week. They lost their first game to France. They have this like really difficult game against Sweden. I think for them, they're just like trying to just like ride the wave. But I imagine at this point in the tournament that they're like running on fumes and just like hoping that they have enough.
I think you can also see it on the side of it galvanizes you. Like you have one of your players being racially abused online. Like screw that. Like, let's bring the team together. Let's make this bubble so airtight. Let's do it for one another. Let's do it for Jess Carter. Like, so I think like that kind of stuff can actually bring people together more and actually give you more energy.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really great point. Like using not necessarily just this example with Jess Carter, but using all of these ups and downs to bring yourselves together and use everything as motivation. I am interested though in Italy, Becky. Talk to
Mhm.
me a little bit about how you saw them starting the game.
I was wondering if they were going to stay true to the game plan that got them to the semis. And that was like kind of a methodical playing out of the back, luring that attack, that pressure, and then kind of playing around it or over it. And I have to say, like, I love that they committed and stayed with that game plan, even going against England in a huge match in the semifinal.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Italy's commitment to playing out of the back, like you noticed they were playing short on goal kicks, really trying to like lure England out to press them high. I feel like that shows a lot of confidence and I agree with you that like sticking to that game plan, what's brought them success so far in this tournament was great. And like literally it worked for 96 minutes. I think it asked questions of England's pressure and I felt this is going to be a recurring theme everybody. I felt this whole game I was texting Becky being like England just doesn't have any like numbers high. And so I think that even though England would go and press Italy as they played out, Italy just like had so many numbers behind the ball. Like the only real chances for England in the first 25 minutes came from there was a cross to Lauren James. She didn't connect quite well enough to like really challenge the goalkeeper. And then there was a flick onto Alessia Russo who got a shot off and it was close, but she just still had multiple defenders around her. And I think that Italy's like numbers at the back them starting to play out and then maybe try to find a player's hire a little bit more directly. It just felt like they had an advantage everywhere they went.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And Italians in general, like they are known for their defending. I grew up watching film of the men's national team from Italy, their back line, because they were legendary with like how they could step a line, drop the line, how they played out, how they could make attackers and opponents' attacking line do what they wanted. And it really looked like the women's side has carried that over to their game as well.
Yeah, for sure. I one of the things I kept thinking about was how like England versus Italy is like such a globally like historic feeling matchup. Like it feels like this game was so big even though Italy hasn't like notoriously in recent years been making major tournament semifinals, but to see them make this kind of progress and hopefully, I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like have more investment. They have a new professional league that started just 3 years ago. Hopefully their federation is also treating them really well. I hope they become the superpower on the women's side that they have been historically on the men's side because I feel like that's such a great signal that like strong footballing nations on the men's side are going to be strong footballing nations on the women's side. I think that's like a really powerful sign. To your point about like the defense, Becky, I feel like in this game, both teams probably came into it being like, we've got to shore up the back line, both playing out, not making any mistakes, but also defensively. I think that was definitely a sticking point for England against Sweden, as we've addressed a little bit. But one of the things that got England out of trouble against Sweden was Lucy Bronze working so high up that right flank. She actually scored England's first goal to get them back in the game, finding herself all the way up in the box to score a header. I want to talk about Lucy because I feel like she is so much like the heartbeat and mentality focal point of this England team. And I'm curious, Becky, what you see and like about her, and how would you enjoy playing with her if she was your right back?
Oh, I would have loved playing with her. I think she's such a great example of what's expected of an outside back in the global game right now. And you have to be a strong 1v1 defender. Like, no doubt that is your main job. But the expectations on the attacking side have grown so much, and you need to be able to get up and down the field. In some game plans, you're expected to provide the high width in the attacking half. Sometimes you're inverting to become almost like a second central pivot in the midfield. So, it's this position that I feel like has evolved the most in the last decade, and Lucy does all of that, and she does it while also being, like, a mental monster, like we've talked about, but also having an amazing work ethic. Like, she just never looks tired.
I know. Do you remember in the last game she was literally taping up her own leg, and I was like, man, she could have a muscle injury. We might not see her next game. Nope, she plays 120 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't she, like, then unstrap it to take the PK?
Yeah, like I feel like she's the type of player that like could play through a pulled quad or like I don't know what her injury was. I'm not like I don't want to assume anything, but it's just like I feel like she would just be like, "No, I'll just tough it out."
Oh, for sure. She was like, "I actually didn't feel it after a few minutes."
Yeah, I think that like she is like the model I feel for young English players to for like the way she works, the way she's committed to the game, the way she welcomes young players onto the team, the way like I feel like sometimes when like England has had a journey this tournament, and sometimes I feel you can see that in their body language, like when something doesn't go right, which we're about to get to their first goal against. But Lucy like never reacts like Lucy is just like the core, and like I have so much respect for her. I played with her for a season at Man City, and I just was like, you are like so wise, so committed, so mentally tough, so physically tough. So anyways, I love Lucy. Let's talk about their goal against though.
I love Lucy. I love it.
Literally literally love her so much. Um in we're at this point in the game, in the first half. I had just started being like, wow, like England, they've had a couple of chances, but they don't have any numbers in the box. And I was like, what is this about? Like Italy just feels like they're outnumbering England. And I started to be like, what's going on? And just around that time, I see Italy careening into England's box. Sofia Cantore, who is coming to play in the NWSL for the Washington Spirit after this tournament, she combined out wide, beat Esme Morgan end line, and played it into the box. Where, and Becky, I know you're going to give us some more detail on this, but I love when somebody's playing a ball into the box and the defenders are kind of like turning around or facing their own goal because it's not easy for them to clear it. It's like the angle of the cross makes it really, really difficult for the defenders to like get any solid body part on it and like hit it out away from the goal. And that's exactly what happened. England was just a little bit unorganized. Lucy Bronze tried to keep the ball going across the face of goal, but 34-year-old veteran Barbara Bonacea was there to take a touch and finish it, like roofed it. It was Italy's first shot on goal in the game, but now Italy are up 1-0.
Oh, man. What a great goal. And for me, it was the effort from Girelli, who I think got just like a baby touch on the cross that kind of, I think, messed up Lucy Bronze's ability
Mm,
to really clear it. And it just caused a bunch of chaos that allowed Bonacia to have the opportunity to get that touch. And then what a great volley.
I
But it was
know.
so smart of Italy in that moment to change the tempo, to go fast, because they found the English 2-on-2 in the box. And defensively, you always want a +1 situation so that the two can be man marking the two attackers. And then you've got that spare English player who can kind of just cover dangerous space. And they just didn't have that.
I know. I even there was another third Italian runner into the box. I'm sorry that I didn't clock who it was. Where I was like, even if that ball had ricocheted a different direction, I just felt like, oh my god, Italy like has more numbers in the box than England. Like, how are they numbers up everywhere? Becky, I want to know again. I'm focusing so much on like England's like mental state in this game because I do think it's like such an interesting storyline. England are on this roller coaster this tournament. Then they get scored on against Italy in like what quote the media and like everybody was kind of like England should win this game against Italy. Now they're down 1-0. What did you make of their response? Do you think that they were kind of just like, why does this keep happening to us?
I mean, I'm not sure if their response was that they were a bit frazzled or if Italy just kind of found another level because there was a clear momentum shift at the end of that first half, really in Italy's favor. And so I don't know if it's one or the other, if or maybe it was a combination of both.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a combination of both. And I think like I'm not focusing on England so much to like detract from Italy's performance at all. Italy scored an incredible goal. I keep saying Italy was outnumbering England all over the field. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that was a fitness thing, a tiredness thing, a tactical thing. I'm really not sure. But I started being like, England's got to change something. Like, England looks a little bit on the back foot. They are not getting enough numbers forward into their attack. I think it's clear. Look, I love England. I have a lot of friends on the team, but I think it's clear that they have some players who could be, and we would all love to see them playing a little bit better, a little bit more effectively. Coming into this game, most of us, were like, England's probably going to win. They've just been so up and down this tournament. So I start wondering at halftime if all these ups and downs have just like kind of depleted them a little bit. And I wanted to see some substitutions a little bit earlier. I feel like we didn't have any high quality attacks. And then I started being like, England's bench has been so effective this tournament that I would have maybe made some subs sooner than the subs got made. Becky, what were you thinking at halftime?
So I have always appreciated when a coach is like, I need to see more from you and you. I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes of the second half to show me that you want to be on that field. And if I don't see it, I'm going to start making subs. And Serena Vegman does save her subs until late, super, super late typically. But like you said, I feel like England may be more depleted than ever because of how this tournament has played out. So yeah, make your subs earlier. Like maybe it doesn't have to be halftime, but like get them in there.
Yeah, and I think I'm interested when you say maybe you're going to say to some people you have 5 or 10 minutes to just like show me. We did see Beth Mead come on at halftime for Lauren James, but when you say like show me, which basically means like we don't need to sub you, but you have to do something that like forces me to keep you out there. I'm interested in that like tactically because England's down a goal. And so I'm like, at this point, it's too early in the second half to like really go balls to the wall and like make it really chaotic and like lump long balls into the box. But I think that that kind of show me is like sending numbers high into the box, putting more numbers into the attack, really communicating defensively and like trying to win the ball back, but not in a chaotic way because I feel like maybe it was too early in the game to make it chaotic. What do you think?
I think chaos could be a good thing. And I think it can be intentional, especially if you're going against a back line that has shown itself to be very structured and disciplined. I don't think that's what England was trying to do, but I do think that there are times in games where you intentionally cause chaos and be a little less predictable because it does just kind of shake things up and make that back line kind of be like, what is happening now?
Yeah, I actually find that like really interesting because I think that England has maybe had now I'm kind of backtracking on what I said, but it's like maybe their lack of chaos and like just almost blind energy going forward has been what's been hurting them. Like I remember them coming back against Sweden, and I'm like, it's because Lucy Bronze is in the six attacking. And it's like, that's not chaos, but it's like risky.
It
And
is.
maybe their methodical structure is something that they need to step out of a little bit sooner. And I do think that making subs kind of forces a change in energy, forces a change in, oh, this is our passing pattern that we've done 100 times during the week in practice. I do think with Beth Mead coming on, we started seeing the game open up. There was one point early in the second half where I was just like back and forth and back and forth, and both teams were just like kind of playing. Italy just stayed really organized. And as much as I liked seeing England send more numbers high, Beth Mead, starting to be a little bit more creative, involving more people in the attack, Italy's defense was really, really effective.
Very effective. And it's interesting because I was watching the game, the commentators mentioned, okay, possession, 51%, 49,
Mm.
51 in favor of England. And I thought that was oddly close. Like I thought England would have had more of an advantage in possession, but I think it's because, like you said, the game opened up and England decided to go a little bit more direct, and they were taking every cross that they could get. They were taking a bunch of half chances. And so they were really getting the ball, but then like giving it right back pretty much right away.
Yeah, exactly. It was like it started to be like those games where the team just can't score and it just slips away from them, and they start taking like crazier and crazier shots. It felt like as the second half wore on, I could just like see England not scoring. I felt like it was going to be one of those games where they like got all these set pieces, started shooting from distance, kept crossing the ball in the box, and Italy was just going to keep clearing it, and it was going to just like get away from England. I like really had that feeling for so much of the second half.
Yeah, especially that first 15 to 20 minutes of the second half.
Yeah.
I felt like England, they were just like launching very hopeful balls, and they're like, well, maybe someone will just beat their defender and they'll rise a little bit higher and head it home. And they started to take all these half chances. And I was like, I think they might be panicking a little bit. But yeah, Italy they just stayed strong. I mean, for so long of that game, such a masterclass of defending.
It really was. They had like the five across the back, the three in front. It was organized. And it's so frustrating to try to attack against that because you really only can shoot from distance. Unless your forwards are beating their outside backs over and over and over and getting in crosses, which even if they are, Italy still would have had 7 defenders in the box. Like,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating to try to play against that. And so I do think, and this is kind of your point, Becky, but it's like subbing and like changing something, which England did do, what became necessary. Like I remember the commentators around this point in the game, I don't know, maybe we're around like 70th minute now, kept noting that Serena's tendency is to sub really, really late. And I see people in the chat like saying that all the time, and that the subs did so good. Which is just so interesting because now knowing what happened, I'm like, maybe Serena knows exactly what she's doing and she subbed not a second too soon. But I just felt like the second half kept going on, continued to be fruitless for England. The game really started calling for subs. I was like, we need Chloe Kelly. We need Michelle Agyemang. I know I sound like a hero now, predicting exactly what happened. But I just felt like England needed something to snap them into a new gear, to get them out of like, these kind of longer shots from distance that weren't really working. Maybe just like a different look, I think they adjusted a little bit like formation wise, and like maybe rotated the back line up through the left side a little bit. But the game was just calling for change.
Sam, I was shocked when the first subs to come on midway through the second half were Italian subs. I mean, Serena Begman really, really committing to her substitution scheme. But like you said, finally, like you called it, Chloe Kelly comes on in the 78th minute to try to work her magic.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked too. 70th minute. Okay, so yeah, I'm like, it's not that long.
No.
But it's been working, I guess. So I think what happened, Chloe Kelly comes in to play right wing. She moves Beth Mead to the 10. I do think that there was some sort of like backline rotation to like send another number up high as these subs went on. But when Chloe Kelly came to the game almost right away, because I do think there were a few positional shifts in this moment, Italy go on the counterattack and like almost score again. And I'm like literally saying this over and over, but even on that play, I'm like, how did Italy have so many numbers forward? Italy had a runner who was like wide open if she had only gotten the ball, but I think Alex Greenwood like blocked it from getting switched. Thank God. But then they had like another runner coming, and I'm like, of course England are chasing back, but I don't know what to make of Italy's ability to have numbers high and numbers low. Was it a fitness thing? Was it a tactical? Like I keep asking the same question, but I just felt like they had 15 players on the field.
It's like one of the great soccer phenomenons that if you are chasing a game, it is so much more exhausting than if you have the lead. And you just have so much more energy to get forward, to get back when you have that one goal lead. I don't understand it, but I have felt it so many times on both sides. And it's just Italy just putting their head down and just
Yeah.
getting up the field. Oh, getting back now. It's honestly, it's just like a different energy system that you get when you are protecting a lead.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I think it's crazy that this kept happening. We finally saw a few more substitutions, and England are pushing. Like, England are getting more and more dangerous.
Mhm.
Lucy Bronze is consistently making this run at the back post of corner kicks, and nobody's marking her. And I can't really understand why. When we
For the
know how
life
good
of
she
me,
is at
why
that.
why free headers?
I know. I'm like, but Michelle Agyemang and Aggie Beaver-Jones do come onto the field. There's only about 5 or 6 minutes left, and at this point, Becky, I'm like getting ready to come upstairs and like do this show. I'm like, England are making some subs. I don't feel like they have it. I literally feel like Italy's gamesmanship in this moment was so good. It felt like England were playing checkers, Italy was playing chess. It felt like Italy was the more experienced team hanging onto a lead. And I'm like, I got to go up and do the show with Becky. Like, let's get ready to get upstairs.
I mean, if you need to learn how to waste time and kill off a game, watch Italy for most of
I was
this
gonna
game.
say up until
Up until this one moment, that is my biggest soccer pet peeve ever. And it is the moment where this Italian player makes this amazing run with the ball, started in her defensive half, gets out of a tight little spot, shoots down the field into the offensive half. There are minutes left in the game, just mere minutes. And instead of going to the corner or playing a central pass to one of her open players that would then probably waste another 45 seconds to a minute, she decides to shoot a ball from 40 yards out. And of course, it doesn't go in. And of course, England gets the ball and comes back down on the attack. And I cannot tell you, Sammy, how many times I have screamed at my attackers when we have a goal up and they decide to take a shot from a bad angle or to shoot through legs instead of just passing or going to the corner. You can waste so much time
I
if you
know.
just hold the ball somewhere and not make me have to defend again. And I watch this play happen and I go, I sincerely hope that this does not come back to bite them in the ass. And guess what happened? It bit them in the ass.
I totally agree. I think the thing about wasting time in those moments is like you're not necessarily going to go to the corner and kill the whole game off in that play. But if you waste an additional 30 seconds and then your team has to chase back, it's like that was worth it. Like
Yes.
that's one less chance, and that could be the one chance that they don't score on.
The
If that I don't know if that all
aggregation
adds
of
up.
marginal gains. You get 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there.
Yeah.
It adds up.
Yeah.
And guess when England scores? With what? A minute left?
I know.
A minute that could have been wasted.
I know. I know. That it was really, really tough. But yeah, look, so Italy does not waste enough time, even though they had been doing really, really well up until this point. Honestly, it's not like none of us were like, it's inevitable that England's gonna score. It did not feel inevitable. I felt like Italy was crushing it. All of a sudden, there's like 90 seconds, 2 minutes left. Lauren Hemp sends a dangerous ball into the box. Beth Mead makes that really great near post run. Actually, not too dissimilar from the run that Girelli made in the first half that just kind of it causes chaos behind you. The defenders have to track you. The goalkeeper needs to act like if you get a flick, she needs to be ready to save that. And it leaves the ball. There's some confusion behind her, deflects out to Michelle Agyemang. Substituted in just minutes ago. It's her 4th cap today. She's 19 years old. She takes a calm touch and buries it. I think the commentator said something at this point that like England have 9 lives. And literally that's what this felt like. This was the latest equalizer in Euros semifinal history. England have come back from behind again. Michelle Agyemang is a hero again. And it's just heartbreaking for Italy.
I felt so bad for Italy in that moment. It wasn't even excitement or anything for England. It was heartbreak for Italy because you defend so brilliantly for 90 plus minutes.
Yeah.
And then it just gets negated by one misread cross. It is a cruel sport.
It is a cruel sport. It was a tough moment for Italy because really, I think, and again, I can't speak for Italian fans here, but I'm like, in that moment, it's going to extra time. It kind of feels like England's going to win now. It kind of felt like Italy had to just hang on and that England was going to come out on top. But I do want to say Michelle Agyemang's impact on this England team, she is so early in her career. Like I said, she's 19 years old. She's been so impressive in this tournament. This was only her 4th cap and she's scoring the game tying goal in the Euro semifinal. We actually interviewed her teammate, Georgia Stanway, before the tournament started. And I said to Georgia, what young player should we all keep our eyes on? Like, whose name are we going to know after this tournament? And she immediately, without even thinking, said Michelle Agyemang. Georgia said, and I quote, "She brings something completely different to the team. She's so good at holding the ball up. Obviously, she can create goals from nothing, and it just gives us an extra dynamic."
I mean, that totally tracks, right?
I know. It was so spot on. And actually, now that I think of it, it's like such a perfect question to ask people's teammates is like, who's doing great on your team? Because they'll literally tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I do have to say, and I, me as the media now, I'm asking the tough questions. At what point, Becky, if you're England, do you look at your substitutes who are doing so well when they come on the field for 6 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and do you go, we need to start these players?
Oh, that is really tough because this is Serena Wegman's method of madness and it works. I mean, she did this last Euros as well, where she stayed very true to her starting 11 as much as physically possible. But I mean, you waited pretty late this time, Serena. I mean, maybe you sub on a bit earlier. Maybe it's not, starting and changing up your starting 11, but maybe you give them a little bit more time to cook.
I hear that. I think I'm just like, is England too married to the methodical structure? Are they too married to the starting 11? Could they do with a little change up? Like it just seemed like they're coming back from deficits when they make these substitutes. So I'm kind of like, is she going to make some changes for the final? Absolutely not. I do not think so. I would not put any money on that. But I would ask the question long term, like, should you be a little bit more fluid and flexible with the lineup when all these players who are coming on for you are doing so great and are in form? Or are you just going to win another tournament and keep doing it exactly the way you've been doing it?
Exactly. If she keeps winning, why fix what ain't broke, So I think until that English team gets burned for
Yes.
not making those substitutions earlier, like you're probably just going to keep going. Probably.
Okay. Last question on this and then I'll let it drop. Do you think it's like fun? Like, do you think it's fun for England to be in these positions over and over and to just have to keep coming back? Or do you think the players right
No.
now are kind of like, oh my God, you guys, like what's going on? Or do you think they're elated?
I mean, I think you are elated. You just made it into the final of the Euros, but you do have to wonder, why do we keep getting ourselves in these situations? What can we do to stop? Because it is really tiring, and that can accumulate. I think you're going to find the energy that you need in a Euro final. But yeah, that's rough. I don't know.
Okay, so anyways, we go through some extra time. The first 15 minutes, nothing crazy really to report. The game kind of actually slowed down, surprisingly. Grace Clinton subbed on for Kira Walsh. But in the second 15 minutes, I felt a shift where England starts inching closer to scoring a goal.
Well, yeah, I mean, just watching the Italian backline walk off the field after that first 15, I was like, "Oh,
They're
oh man,
tired.
they're really tired." And then Agyemang had this really great chance where she kind of beat 2 Italian players to the ball and really, like,
Oh,
deftly
yeah.
lifts it over the goalkeeper, and it just hits the bottom of the crossbar, and I was thinking, "Ooh, yeah, I mean, this Italian backline, they've put in a shift, but they are tired."
I know. And in that moment, I wanted it for Michelle. I was like, "Oh my god, imagine the
Unreal.
heroics if she had just scored this goal." But that play where she hit the crossbar led to a PK call. Literally moments later, I know this is super controversial. Let us know what you think in the comments, PK or no PK. People have already been talking about it all day. Beth Mead was kind of torn down inside the box, and it was right in front of the referee. We didn't even really like I don't even know if the ref really like considered VAR. I think she just saw it and was like, I have to call this. It's right in front of me. Becky, foul? PK?
So I don't know if you heard Clattenburg, I think, came on right after to talk about the call. And he was like, at this moment, in this type of game, you don't want to see it be decided by a PK. So if it's not like a real strong PK, maybe you just let the game play on. And I kind of have to go with that. I do think
Ah,
like
really?
yeah,
Oh my
like
god, wait. I'm like shocked because I'm like, just feel like a rule's a rule. Like, I don't think Beth Mead was gonna get to that ball, and that's where I'm just like, you don't rip her down. Like she did foul her.
yeah. Yeah, I know. It makes me I'm sorry. I just am so sad for Italy.
I people think it's soft. I see Stacy says that was soft. Even BKH84 says even the ref commentating said no penalty. Look, suddenly I feel okay to just stand on my own and be wrong, have everybody think I'm wrong. But like the ref was right there.
Yeah, but we all know that sometimes refs don't always make the right decision.
Okay, Becky. Um, look, okay, so the PK gets called. Do with it what you will. Thank you, KILs, for saying a rule is a rule. That's how I live my life. I always follow the rules. Um, who else steps up but Chloe Kelly? And I just had this like feeling Lucy Bronze was standing over the PK spot to like protect it, which is what Becky, can you maybe tell us a little bit about that? Why players do that? Why did Lucy grab the ball and stand over the spot?
There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes the opposing team, the team that just got the PK called against them, they'll go up to the spot and they will kick and like try to disrupt the ground so that it can get a little slippery or a little bumpy and can mess up the taker. It's also a way of confusing the team. And the goalkeeper will be like, "Oh my gosh, who's taking the PK?" Because they've memorized before the game, or they have something written on like a water bottle where do these PK takers usually go? And if you don't have time to like see who it is and then, be like, "Oh, they like to go lower right," you're trying to remember it. And so it just causes a little bit more confusion. So there's a couple reasons why you can have somebody kind of stand over that spot.
For sure. And so I see Lucy standing over the spot, smiling as she hands the ball to Chloe Kelly because I feel like Lucy's just like obviously Chloe's gonna make this. Like Chloe has ice in her veins. Chloe steps up to take it, and actually the Italian goalkeeper Giuliani saves it, but very painfully for Italy, it deflects right back to Chloe, who calmly finishes it anyway. That's a moment where a less cool player would have blasted it right over the goal. Chloe just goes, "Yeah, I missed. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm just going to put it back in the net." Is not distracted, buries it anyways. What a moment to see Chloe Kelly. I don't know if she's being like, "Calm down, everybody. We're good. We got it. We're fine." I don't know what that like message was, but that's how I took it.
Yeah. Yeah, like kind of like, "I got this. I got this. Settle down, settle down."
Oh my gosh. And look, so much credit to Italy. I did have a feeling as soon as England scored that last second goal in regular time that they were going to win. But look, Italy gave it such a great run. So much credit to Italy for hanging on until the very, very, very end of this game. It was such an incredible tournament for them. And honestly, I think there is like so much more to come for this team in years to come.
Yeah, like you said, they just became fully professional a couple years ago. Look what a little, investment and a team can do. Like, you make it to a semifinal, almost make it to the final. Clearly you're playing good soccer, like you're on the right path. And it just goes to show the global game, if you invest, like you will see a return in that investment. And I think the Italian Federation should be really proud of their women's team.
Totally agree. So England win. England are going to go on to play the winner of the other semifinal tomorrow. That's between Spain and Germany. I have no idea what's going to happen. I am going to stop pretending like I can predict anything. But I do want to hear you all's predictions. And thank God we've reached that part of the show where we get to hear from you. So if you didn't hear me before, to join us here live on YouTube, scan the QR code in the top left of your screen, or you can click the pinned comment in the chat. You're going to go into a Zoom with our producer, Tony. Tony will tell you everything. You're not going to be on camera. If you don't want to ask a question, please just do us a huge favor and give us a like. It actually really helps us more than you know. Okay, we're going to go to the questions. I can't wait to hear what you all think. When I call your name, remember to take yourself off mute. Tell us where you're from, and then we'll hear your question. Up first, we have Lindsay. Lindsay, can you take yourself off mute?
Yes.
Hi, Lindsay.
So excited to talk to you guys.
Well, I'm so excited you're here. Lindsay, where are you from?
I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska,
Very
Incredible.
cool.
but I want to give a shout out to my hometown of Denver Summit FC.
Woo! Denver Summit just got named. Was that today?
Yeah, that was this morning.
So exciting. Are you going to be a Denver Summit fan?
Of course.
Love that.
Gotta represent the city.
Becky, what do you think of the name?
This is my first time hearing it. So Denver Summit FC.
Yeah.
So they're the Summiters? Like, what's
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I am just really glad. I like when teams actually have names and they just don't like stick on a FC or SC at the end. So I love when there's like a summit or something to it.
Yeah, I love it
Yeah.
too. I love it too. Lindsay, okay, tell us what you thought of the game. Do you have a question for us?
Yes. So my question, you kind of briefly hit on it towards the end, was does the moment or the meaning of the game, should it impact the call? Because the way, like, as a former player, coach, it's like, yes, Sam, I'm with you. The rule is the rule. But at the same time, when you've been letting so many things go, how do you call that could decide the game?
I mean, Sam, you yourself said
Yeah.
that Bethany was not going to get to that ball.
I know, I did say that. Look, I think you're asking two questions here. One of them is, if you're letting a lot of things go, do you then start calling fouls? And I would say no. I would say you need to call consistently. Like I would say throughout the game, you need to make consistent calls. But I would also say that a foul is a foul, and you should call fouls that are fouls, and you should follow the rule book. Am I being wishy-washy here?
I don't even know. Okay, I will say that I think you should take into account the game, and should this amazing game be decided by a foul that was like not really directly involved in a goal scoring opportunity? Was it a true, like, you would call this 100% out of 100% a foul? Then maybe you call it, but I just don't want to see a game like this get decided by that kind of result.
So the other thing that I will say about this is, like, there are moments where the ref does have to take into account, like, is the emotion of the game getting out of control? So I don't want to say like the ref has to totally remove themselves from what's going on in the game, because you can't. If the crowd is out of control, if the fouls are out of control, you have to acknowledge that by like giving yellow cards and like calming the game down. Like, that's the ref's job. But I don't think, like, let's say a team is beating another team 10-0, and then there's a foul in the box that by the rule book is a foul in the box. The ref's not going to like not give the PK because it's 10-0.
Agree to disagree.
Me and Becky are going to both like die on these hills, which is so unlike us. Lindsay, what do you think?
So I have two ideas. One, yes, a penalty is a penalty, but I know that some former players have come out saying that we need to change things. Should penalties in the game allow rebounds?
Oh,
That's kind of my thought, because, okay, it's a penalty, but she missed her penalty. And I don't remember exactly who, because I think Henri was calling for refs to have like their own like conferences afterwards, but somebody said we should get rid of the rebound rule.
Fascinating.
I didn't even know we could ask questions about the rebound rule. I've like never thought about that before in my life.
I have never thought about that either. That's really interesting. Also, I would just like to say, if that were the case and there was a rebound rule, ball don't lie. I mean, she missed her PK, so clearly it shouldn't have been a PK in the first place.
I literally disagree with both of you on this one. This is fascinating. I love disagreeing with Becky. It actually like makes my day because we're actually like such great friends who agree on 99% of every single thing in the whole world.
So true.
And when we find something to disagree on, it just feels so good. Lindsay, thank you for presenting us with one of these questions that we will likely bring up every time we record together for the rest of time. Lindsay, it was so great to hear from you. Thank you so much, and go Denver Summit.
Yeah.
I also just want to take a minute to say how fun it is to talk about this because the U.S. Women's National Team is not involved in this game. Like, can you imagine if the stakes for us were that the U.S. was playing and maybe had like lost, how hard this would be to be talking about it? So I will take a moment for all of the like diehard England or Italy fans. I know we're taking this lightly, but come watch us when it's a U.S. Women's National Team game. We are not taking it this lightly. Okay, let's see. AC, can you take yourself off mute?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, AC. Where are you from?
So I am from Atlanta, Georgia. However, I'm actually in France right now. So a little late, but
Yeah.
still
Wow.
here.
Thanks for calling. What are you doing in France?
I the France-Germany game a few nights ago, and now I'm visiting some friends. So
Oh my
Very
gosh.
cool.
That sounds so cool. Okay, AC, thank you so much for calling all the way from France. What's your question for us today?
So I have two small questions. My first one is, what are your guys' thoughts on the England game plan kind of in the last 15 to 20 minutes of regular time? Um, I noticed a lot of just kind of aimless crosses into the box, which obviously eventually worked out, but I thought it was very interesting that there wasn't really a solid tactical plan. And my second question is just your thoughts on the general chaos of this tournament so far, because I feel like every single game I've watched has been so incredibly entertaining, and I cannot say that about a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, AC, great questions. I love that. Let's start with the first one. Becky, England's game plan in the dying minutes of the game, did you think it was effective enough?
I mean, it was effective enough to get them a goal. And I think it just took one of those hopeful crosses in the box. I mean, it was a good cross. I will give it to that. But you can see the defender misreads the cross, kind of steps instead of drops. So that allows for a run to the near post that creates the havoc that comes off the goalkeeper, that allows Agyemang to get the touch in the shot. So, like, I can't fault the game plan or what was maybe a game plan because it worked. I do think England got a little lucky that for a half second, one Italian defender didn't make the right decision when she had probably made the right decision the entire game before it.
Yeah, I know. That's like what do they always say? The games can be won and lost in the boxes, but then also in the beginning or the end, like when the players are tired, when the half is winding down, there's like these big moments right after a goal, right before the game ends. And that's when players have to like make those exact right decisions. I agree that it didn't necessarily feel like the game plan was working for that kind of what we would call like last ditch attempts. Like, we're sending numbers forward, we're sending the ball into the box, we're like kind of abandoning our previous game plan to just desperately try to score. Sometimes with the US, we would actually play with 2 nines. We would like throw a center back up to play center forward. And I do think, and I'm not tactically 100% sure, that England kind of rotated their back line. I'm pretty sure Lauren Hemp was like kind of playing left back, but was playing as like a midfield forward, with Aggie Beaver-Jones in front of her. And it did, create more numbers in the box and more dangerous chances for England, but it wasn't nearly as lethal or effective early enough as I would have liked to see. Like that Michelle Agyemang's chance, and then that was later, sorry. Michelle Agyemang's goal was really the only time that I was like, England's going to score.
Mhm.
So I found that really, really interesting. AC. And then I think your second question was, can you remind me?
Just generally, like a lot of these games have been so
Oh,
entertaining
yeah.
throughout the tournament, and I was just wondering about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Becky, do you want to go first?
I mean, I feel like a broken record, but it's just a testament to like how far the women's game has come, and it's so difficult in Europe to qualify for the Euros. And so if you can make it through the rigorous qualification process, like you are going to be a tried and true team in this tournament, and you are going to have to for sure deserve to be there. And you're like, it's just the game is getting so good. These teams are getting so good. There's so much tactical and technical evolution from like even 5, 10 years ago. And
Mm.
so it's just an exciting time to be a women's soccer fan because like all these teams are making this growth in like leaps and bounds.
I know. Even like this game was sold out. There was like 26,000 people there in Switzerland. Like the response has been so great. And I do think it's because the product is so great. These teams are like getting investment. We know everybody's name. We're watching them play with their club teams. We know their stories more. Like it's such a web of so many things coming together to make the product better, to make it better for the players, to make it more fun for the fans. And I think this tournament has been incredible. I think just to Becky's point, it's showing like so much growth. And it's been such an awesome tournament. I hope that every tournament is like this competitive and this exciting. Though for England's sake, I hope they don't have to keep playing overtime. AC, thank you so much for calling in. I hope you have the best trip in France.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Okay, we're gonna take one more question from Josh. Josh, can you take yourself off mute? Josh.
Hi, sorry. Hi, how
Hey.
are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Oh, by the way, I need before I ask my question, Sam, my rec league team is actually named after the Mewis sisters, so that's
No
fun.
way. What's it? Is it called Mewis?
From Mewis to you.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Do you win a lot or do you lose a lot?
You know what? We're 1-1-2, and
Okay.
I have to take responsibility for our last draw because I was kind of responsible as a center back, and hopefully
Oh,
Becky will have some sympathy for me.
yes.
I had a great game except for I was kind of responsible for the last goal. So
It
I sort of didn't decide to stick or twist, and I should have challenged the ball, but
it happens,
whatever.
but it's
It
noble of
happens.
you. It's noble of you to take responsibility.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
happens, Josh. Well, I'm so
it
glad
happens to
that
the
I'm
best of us.
like my name is still out there in the soccer world. I'm like pretty thrilled to hear about
Yes,
it. Josh, where are you from?
absolutely. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So yeah, shout out Brooklyn, New York.
Shout out
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York. Okay, Josh, hit us with your question.
Yeah. So just especially in light of like Chloe Kelly was like probably my favorite footballer, and I just got her shirt in the mail the other day. But
Nice.
um what do you think, like what are the qualities of like being a good super sub, and like how is the mindset different from that to being a starter, would you
You
say?
Mm.
got this one, Sammy.
What a good question. Um, Look, I think that especially in a game like this, and I've been thinking so much about Chloe Kelly because of just the journey she's been on this year, not playing at Man City, kind of coming out and publicly asking to, get traded, put out on loan, going to Arsenal, and then having such an impact for them in the Champions League, winning Champions League. Now she's here at the Euros with England. She has been playing this role of super sub and coming in and being really effective. I think that as a sub, it's a totally different like task. You have a limited window of time to come in and be effective. So you're almost like the game plan applies to you less, like especially when you're coming in down a goal, you're taking more risk. Like you have to come in with confidence because you might cross it 9 times and have it not work out. You might take on a player 1v1 5 times and have her steal the ball from you 3. But if you only have 15 minutes to score a goal, you have to just keep going. You also have to recover on defense. You also then have to get back forward on offense. Like so much is asked of you physically in a different way where it's like you're maxing yourself out for 15 minutes, productivity, physically, mentally, And Chloe like seems to be able to do that no matter what. I think missing the PK and then scoring the rebound is such a perfect example of like, I have this amount of time to make an impact. I missed my PK. I forgot about it already. And I'm just going to go calmly like finish this. Chloe was crossing. Chloe was taking corner kicks. She was being dangerous. She was chasing back on defense. And I feel like it's such a different role than like a starting forward who is like, well, my game plan for today is to get wide and to play wide and to try to play the ball down the line or to try to dribble centrally. You're more methodical as a starter because you're having to kind of like go into the game trying to execute specific tactics. Whereas as a sub, Becky, you're kind of like, I'm trying to score a goal and get us back in this game, and I can do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot more freedom and you make things happen. I'm just going to be the defender that I am and say that when you're a defensive player getting subbed on, your main focus is just don't mess up. Don't be the reason your team loses this match.
Yeah, which actually, so interestingly, as soon as England scored their second goal in extra time, Jess Carter is subbing on the field because now we're playing defensively. We're like, waiting out this game. We're going to like use gamesmanship. We're filling all the holes in the back that we had just created by sending all these numbers high. What is Jess's mindset subbing on the field? Literally just don't mess up?
Yeah, like your job right now is to protect this lead and just don't mess up. I mean, that it's really like, let's see this game out now.
Yeah. And again, it's like you're not really thinking back to like, well, what did Serena say in the pregame meeting, how we were going to break Italy down? You're like back to basics, clear it out of the area, get it to the corners, keep it wide. So like the roles are totally different. And I do think that some people, like Chloe Kelly is a great example. Sometimes Lynn is a great example of this, who it's just like, you're a super sub because you can just turn it on. You can adjust really quickly. You can play direct if you have to. You can just like be really versatile in whatever the game is asking for from you. So I love that question, Josh. As you can tell, I rambled on about it for so long. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks for taking my call. Just don't be like me, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Good luck to your team, though. I hope that you guys keep making the Mewis name proud.
Oh, Josh,
I will
no.
try.
All right, that was so fun, everybody. What an incredible game. Thank you all so much for calling in. This show is so special because of all of you. We literally couldn't make it without you, so we're really grateful for everybody who comes on and joins us after these games, takes the time to call in. Becky, I've got to ask you one last question. We've got another semifinal to watch tomorrow, Spain versus Germany. What do you think is going to happen?
I have to go with Germany. I was so inspired by that German performance against France. And I did an Ask Me Anything on our Discord channel. And I got asked this question, like who you got going to the final, who you have winning the final. And I said Germany. And also like, that was the first game that I've watched since retiring where it actually really made me miss soccer because it's such like a rare and amazing feeling when you do something that miraculous on the field together on the biggest stage. And so I have a concern about, can they recover enough? Because I mean, that team ran their little legs off, but if they can find that extra gear, that extra level at that first whistle, I think that's a tough team to beat.
Wow. I am so excited. Also, just side note, you might have mentioned this, but Germany has been playing down a player the last two games, basically the whole time, which is so wild. Yeah. I'm so excited to see Anne-Catherine Berger out there. And shout out, thank you for bringing this up, Becky, to our Discord channel. Come and join us on Discord. It's like a platform where we can all just kind of like chat together, and it's super fun. It's like a really great community. Becky and I have both done Ask Me Anything's on there. So come and be with us over there. We will be going live after the semifinal between Spain and Germany tomorrow. That's with Megan Klingenberg. Becky, I wish you could join us and come and be with us, so feel free to call in if you would like. We're back on Sunday for the final. That one's going to be with Allie Riley. All of our podcasts are available here on YouTube and on our podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. We're doing a Euros check-in pod with Becky later this week. That's going to come out on Friday. And we also have a very special interview this week with Rose Lavelle. That's coming out on Thursday. So it's a very busy week over here at TWG. Make sure you're following along with us across all of our social media at Women's Game MIB. You can always send us an email at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. Becky and I would love to hear from you. Reba, I'll talk to you again for our check-in podcast later this week.
Very soon. So soon. I love it.
All right. I'll miss you every single moment in between. Thank you again to all of our callers, to the whole team at TWG and MIB. All right, everybody. I'm going to let you go now. I'm Sam Mewis. This is the Women's Game. Thanks for being here.
Goodbye.
Bye.